Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. In the name of Allah, the Compassionate, the Merciful, and all praise be to Allah, Lord of all creation. Tonight, I'm speaking as an individual human being, a father and husband, an imam, and a community representative. In all my capacities, unequivocally, as an individual and as a community representative, condemn and deplore the unwarranted violence perpetrated by officers sworn to serve and protect against Black American community and against all vulnerable peoples, and especially against George Floyd most recently, and Breonna Taylor, and the countless others who have sadly lost their lives as a result of unchecked police brutality. For too long, the United States of America has systemically marginalized and disenfranchised the Black American population more than anyone else, justifying violence against them in the worst forms. For too long, the United States has awarded racists with positions of trust, from the highest offices of the country to those responsible who serve as the first witnesses between the justice system and the general public. Yes, I condemn looting, but I hope we're past that. More than that, I condemn seeing Black men and women as a threat. I condemn the government's continued neglect to redress its historical wrongs against this community. Racism in all its forms is disgusting and repugnant and justifies the worst of human behavior that fractures and divides our society, pitting people against each other based not based on resources that we can share with each other or ideas that we could debate, but based on the color of people's skin, which they have no choice over, and bearing no immediate influence on who we are as people. And how horrible is that at a time when we are already divided along so many lines and such a volatile time in our society and around the world. The cycle that we have been witnessing over and over is going to continue until real change is implemented, city by city, state by state, and across the United States. Alhamdulillah, the research has been done. Praise be to Allah, the research has been done in many places across America to show what truly decreases the incidence of officers committing violence against citizens. It is up to our lawmakers and policymakers and those in affecting influential positions to work hard to make America a more egalitarian place that can be safer for every American and every visitor. And it is up to us to put the pressure on them to bring these changes about. And so I lend my voice with those who stand and march demanding change in how this country deals with its racist self and history. And I support that and hope that it continues. And as an imam, a Muslim community faith leader, I condemn racism in our own community, our own Muslim community. I am disgusted, I really am, when I hear of Black American Muslim youth or African refugees being discriminated against or called derogatory words by those who should see them as brothers in faith. Muslims have a long way to go before we can start calling ourselves the followers of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessings be upon him. The Prophet Muhammad, the man who had so many beautiful interactions with companions around him of African descent and even of Arabs that had different shades of brown. The man who, during his farewell pilgrimage in front of the greatest gathering of Muslims of his lifetime, he said that there is no virtue of an Arab over a non-Arab, nor non-Arab over an Arab, nor the light-skinned over the dark-skinned, nor the dark-skinned over the light-skinned, except by piety and good action. Each of you are from Adam, and Adam was from dirt. That same man, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that same man to whom the Quran was revealed, where Allah says what means, and of His signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the diversity of your languages and your colors. Indeed, in that are signs for those of knowledge. So it must be a kind of blasphemy to be upset at the signs of Allah. Allah, who also said what means, O humankind, indeed we have created you from male and female and made you into nations and tribes so that you may know one another. And indeed the most honorable of you in the sight of Allah is the one who is most righteous. And Allah is knowing and acquainted. Allah knows best who is righteous. It's a matter of the hearts that we can't peer into. This is the religion that we aim to follow. This is the religion that Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz, otherwise known as Malcolm X, said he believed had the solution to the race problem in America. When I first came to Pittsburgh, I gave a sermon about the Prophet's companion, Bilal, the Ethiopian slave who was a best friend of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the strongest under torture, and his melodic call to prayer when he recited, which he recited in Medina, Mecca, and Jerusalem. And I spoke about racism, the first sin in human history, when Iblis, the cursed one, refused God's command to honor Adam due to different makeup. We as Muslims are entrusted in the Quran as being shuhada ala nas, witnesses over the people, spreading the message. But how can we spread it if we don't know it? If we don't teach it to our children? We don't practice it and glorify it in our lives and in the lives of one another, other than simply putting some calligraphy on our walls. Racism is something that is learned, and it has been learned generation to generation in the Muslim community as well, unfortunately. So don't let your family hear it from you, and don't let your family watch and listen to filth that perpetuates it. I've sometimes wondered in my own life, how would my life be different if I was born into a Black American family? If my soul and my conscience were in a different body, how differently would I be treated in my youth or growing up as a Muslim and in all facets of life that I take for granted? How would things be different? How would I react to the daily challenges that come to me? How would I see the world? I would probably wish to go back to Africa to escape this and go someplace where I felt like I belonged. And when I think of that, I have a special admiration for those that have grown up in this American society and borne this unjust treatment with patience, working for change that has only been coming at a snail's pace. So does it require a religious event like a prophet to change its ways? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, peace and blessings be upon him, he said that racism would never leave humanity. So it tells us that the best that we can hope for is to call it out when we see it and make racism as ugly as Islam makes it, and pressure those responsible to make a change and pressure them to step down so they can leave the work to those who can. But we must not accept this negative peace without justice. And for my fellow white people who are sick of marches and curfews, I say, force your representatives to write positive changes into the law that will curb these evil trends. And finally, I encourage my African American brothers and sisters to compete for influence. Run for election wherever you can, whether it is school board or mosque board, state representative or president of the United States. Flood the field with candidates committed to changing racist policies to make those issues forefront. If you are young, work hard to boost your qualifications. It's easier to change things from the top. And do not stop speaking up, do not stop sharing the injustices perpetrated against you, and do not stop marching for change. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.